This is meeting room 2, afternoon session. How you doing? Is this yours? Is this your session? Just keep in mind, just leave that know we're recording so we can take notes.
Is it on now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Just leave it right there.
Just leave it there. We'll have someone come pick it up.
Right. Sounds good.
Good to see you.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think when she's going through strategic planning, she'll start with the leadership doing some strategic planning. And my guess would be, well, if I can predict the future, I bet on the Bucks games or something. But my guess is, yeah, maybe not. But my guess is that connecting with veteran middle schoolers is going to be part of it. Yeah, well, it's the continuity of what are we telling them, and is it consistent all the way? You heard Marcos say that this morning. Is it consistent all the way through? Now he's on our leadership council, and they're building things in Hillsborough that are going to help that. Pinellas has college and career centers, so that helps that. They're looking at pushing that concept down into the middle. So. Right. 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 Okay. Well, my email, so Jennifer is Jennifer Libby, so it's J-E-L-L-Y, exactly as it sounds, with the same email convention, so just L-L-B-Y.
You remember Rebecca?
And so reach out and
support letters.
right after the women's session. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would chat with her, and again, there's reasons to broaden up, and certain things to broaden too, and then there's other reasons she might say, why don't you just partner here, and do that like this in the entire program. Well, we hear people all the time. Honestly, we hear people all the time talk about what I mentioned, financial literacy thing, and we hear all the time say, in high school saying, oh, if I'd known about that a year and a half ago. Okay, so in middle school, financial literacy, I could give them this. Hey, here's what AP, IB, here's what correct futures is all about. Start now a little bit, because that's part of financial literacy. And like I said, at some point, if they don't have educational training, they're going to have to be financially literate because they're not living wage.
Well, our corporate office is open. Right. So I'm not at the facility, I'm at Harlem. Just grab
And again, even at middle school, one comment somebody's now says, there's wasting free money that you don't have to pay back, and then there's loans. So if it helps you finish, the loan is okay, but do this for try to get yourself in a position you don't have to pay it back. That's great.
he was doing that right there. And hers will be
The difference only with right. hours a week for a lifetime of not having to. And that's the part that you never hear that. It's like, talk about how many hours of work it takes to pay back $50,000 student loan. Yeah, good chatting.
I changed person 365 times each day. And I'm over it. How many times you change? Is that how many times
Yeah, that was a really, I have to say, I'm going up there for 10 years, so all the programs, and I just said, one of the best ones I've been to, especially that I was like, yeah, if you can make this work, do it. Because it makes you think. That's what the team, so really make it make sense, right? So like, so my big friend, he's fortunate to do his
Yeah. Yeah. Sit. Okay.
and so now I'm like, my IPO, please, like, I got all these advisors that, it's still sitting there, but I'm like,
Also, we're running a few minutes behind, so we can get this thing already started. Do you mind closing that door? Thank you. If you all don't know, my name is Kevin Campos. I work for CareerSource, Hillsborough, Pinellas, and I also have a role with the Economic Development Council as well. So have a lot of fun working with employers and people in the area, trying to get more jobs here, above average salary, and good quality employers. So I started my career with CareerSource in 2021. And I started as a sector strategist, another word for business development manager with trades and transportation. So during my start of the journey, I got the pleasure to meet Alex here, and we've had a great relationship working on job fairs. A lot of job fairs, placing a lot of people. I'm going to get into some of the numbers here, but I have the pleasure in introducing my friend Alex Montanera here. So without further ado, for over 35 years, Alex Montaner has dedicated his life to the development of workforce programs in the private and nonprofit sectors. In his current role as a regional lead with statewide workforce development, FDOT, which FDOT stands for Florida Department of Transportation. He is responsible for assisting 300 job seekers monthly in the Tampa and South Florida regions. He has developed training programs for specialized populations such as veterans, reentry, and women in construction. Last year, Ms. Montaner set a state record for most interns placed with the FDOT and their contractors, with a total of 580 youth and youth adults.
You're doing great, Kevin.
Thank you, thank you. This record also holds for the national record for most interns placed with the Department of Transportation in the U.S. So without further ado, Alex Walton.
Thank you, Kevin. Big hand for Kevin. So you know, facilitators literally fought over him being the person to introduce each other. So I'm glad we got you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I am Alex Montaner. I am the regional lead for statewide workforce development, which is the employment training and placement arm of FDOT. I work with FDOT contractors. Okay. I want you to know that when I was checking in today, I ran a little bit late, and I told the young lady, "Sorry, I'm late. Traffic." And she literally said, "Aren't you with FDOT?" And I said, "Yes, but I don't get a call from Tallahassee. Hey, stay off the candy." I don't get calls like that. But it was a nice start of what's going to be a great presentation, because as I stand here, I see folks I know and folks that I need to know. And we're going to come up with some very concrete solutions that are going to be shared by Kevin with not just CareerSource here in Tampa, but at a statewide level. So if you were thinking this is going to be one of those sit down and listen, this is going to be very interactive, because I think that's how we come up with the best solution. Our presentation today is connecting young people to infrastructure jobs. Our objectives are going to be, we're going to do a quick overview of youth employment. We're going to talk about infrastructure jobs, and then we're going to come up with some strategies. One thing I want to share is that our young people, and from what I've heard today, our young people want to work, they need to work, and we're not listening. So part of what we need to do is to understand, and we're the ones that need to change. And it's interesting, I don't see a lot of teenage energy today. I wish we had some, because we're going to be talking about them. I would have loved to see some of them here, just because their input is so valuable. This is just a start. We're going to take this back to your agencies, to your organizations, and keep it going. How we communicate with young people is important as well. Raise your hand if you have children. Okay, I am a baby boomer. If you're not sure if you're a baby boomer, we all have pot bellies and have credit card debt. That's how you know if you're a baby boomer. I am a proud owner of a Generation Alpha. I have a 10-year-old. And when I talk about we've been trained in communication, I have to apply it in my home life. My son said to me, I said, "Mijo, throw out the garbage." And he said, "Ugh, your chatra is off." I go, "What is chatra?" And I'm racking my brain. I had to look it up. It's anime. He's talking anime to me. And then as he's walking away, I said, "Just throw out the garbage like I told you." "Okay, Papi." And then he muttered this, "You die 1,000 deaths." I said to my wife, "He hates me." He said, "Die 1,000. She said, "That is what the character on his anime show says. That's their catchphrase." And I have to think about my catchphrase. Mine was, ready for this? "Don't worry, be happy." Who remembers that one? Na 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 na, don't worry, be happy. Unemployed, don't worry, be happy. House burned up, don't worry, be happy. That was our catch. They're different. They're bigger, smarter, more intelligent, and they're going through a lot that we didn't go through, even though some of us have had different situations. So, youth and employment, tale of two brothers. So, I'm going to use some stories from the work that I do with FDOT and the contractors and the folks that we meet. Two brothers growing up together, bunk bed situation. If you've ever been in a bunk bed situation, so, you know, there's a hierarchy. You know, the bottom gets the bottom, the top gets the top. You know, it's an age thing. Two brothers grow up. Older brother has to talk with the parents. You've got two choices. What are the two choices that they gave the young man when he was done with high school? You can either work for doing the military. Older brother chose the route of education. 4-year degree, came home, had the degree, was ready to enter the workforce. What happened?
No jobs.
Nothing. Nothing was available for him. You keep hearing, I knocked on 1,000 doors and heard no and no. So here he is, he's back at home, he's still in the bunk bed, he's got about 80 grand in debt. Younger brother graduates, walks to a local plant, fills out an application, and comes back and tells the parents, I don't want to go to college, I want to work, I want to learn how to do something. And then he said to the father, I want to be like you. They let him work. Started fresh out of high school, started at the very bottom. Worked his way up, became known as being consistent, dependable. Next thing you know, this young man is a young 20-something-year-old team leader. From there, he's given more responsibility because he's learning a craft, he's getting better at what he does. Lo and behold, becomes a team leader, supervisor. Now you've got a young man in his mid to late 20s that is a young superintendent working up in Venice, Florida, managing big projects for FDOT. Fresh out of high school, making great money, has his own house, has his vehicle paid for, turned around and what did he do? Hired his brother. Okay? The brother was still at home. So I am a big advocate for higher learning, but we've got to understand that there's a population that might not want to go directly to college. They might want to enter the workforce. And when you look at what these young folks have been through, it kind of makes sense why they're somewhat detached and disconnected and disenfranchised, because we've got young people that have gone through a lot, that some of us might have had something similar, but if you look at everything that they've gone through compounded, they've had a lot thrown out. Okay, what young people value now? They value diversity. They want inclusion. Social environmental responsibility is key to them. They want opportunities for professional development and clear career paths. We're going to talk about what employers like and don't like as well. But that is key. They want professional development and a clear path to the money. That's what we're talking about. They have a priority on work-life balance. If you're over 25, you're looking at that word and going, what is that? Work-life balance matters to the young workers that are being hired. They prefer companies that are flexible. Who knows what I mean by that? What are you going to say?
I was just saying malleable, like when things come up.
I need a me day. I don't want to explain it. I need to not be here today. I need to not be here today. I need a day for me. Flexible. I'm going to give you 40 hours. I don't have to come into the office. I don't have to come into the location. I've got 7 days, but within those 7 days, I'll give you the 40 hours. They want companies that are flexible, that meet their, again, that work-life balance. They're better suited to anything technological in the workplace. You know, nonprofit, for-profit, every industry that we have, there's advancements going on. They're doing better than some of us old-timers when it comes to adapting and learning. And I'll use myself as an example. Something goes wrong with the cable. I've got a 14-year-old nephew that I call, comes over, gets back there, there you go, deal, it's all working. They're better at us. They've grown up with technology. Some of us have not. They're giving tablets to kindergartners now. By first grade, some of them are working. They're no longer crayon. They're now typing away at keyboards. So we need to understand that they come in bigger, stronger, and way smarter than we were. And we've got to acknowledge that. Okay. Infrastructure jobs. Infrastructure, you're going to hear this a lot. This is the new buzzword. transportation, water, energy, IT, environmental sciences, and critical manufacturing. There's a big emphasis now on the environment, on green jobs. All of this, especially here in Florida, infrastructure is huge. And again, we've got to be ready for the high demand jobs that come with it. Engineering, construction, technology, and the trades. I want to talk a little bit about the trades. For those of us that work with high schoolers or college, I have had this said to me by young adults. Are you interested in the trades? That's dirty work. That's a direct quote from a young adult. I see myself doing something else. The trades aren't as appealing as it should be to that population. So because of it, we need a skilled labor force. We need all those positions, those high demand positions I mentioned. And here's where the challenges are. I'm going to talk specifically about FDOT and what we're facing, but we've got a workforce shortage that is everything from skilled labor, from civil engineers all the way down to the guys that are raking the asphalt. Skilled in the entry level, there is a huge workforce shortage. Let's take a minute right there. We have a shortage of workforce. We have contractors that will say there's no one that wants to work in Tampa. And then we at the community level scream to the high heavens, we've got a strong, viable workforce with our young folks, with our women, with our veterans. We're here, but there's a disconnect. The average age of an FDOT employee is 55 and up. I am 60. Everything hurts. So here's where we have an older age group, but there is a national drop in enrollment for skilled trades. Plumbing, carpentry, roofing, skilled trades. The fabric of how we live as a society, that wave is not choosing the trades. Remember what I said? The term, some youth, not all, they think it's dirty work. Remember that. So we are at a point where we've got the perfect storm of disaster because the bulk of construction workforce is nearing retirement age with fewer young people entering the industry behind them. Who can tell me what's going on? Who can tell me what's going on? You've got seniors in companies that are opting out, they're retiring, and what's going on when they leave? It's not being passed on to the next generation, to the next level of young leaders. It's not happening, okay? So the demand, and this is just one skill set. There's almost, at a national level, I'm gonna say it's higher, I'm gonna say there's over 1 million open positions for heavy equipment operators. Heavy equipment operator, maybe a couple months worth of training, and you're making 30 plus an hour. Yet there's a shortage of 1 million. If we don't have that level of workforce pushing and building and breaking ground, we're at a standstill. You've got 27,000 disenfranchised youth and CEOs are not hiring. Here is what a owner of a company shared with me. He says, let me tell you the industry. He was in charge of maintaining bridges, painting, cleaning, maintaining. He had a position for $28 an hour, sandblasting the bridge. I said, great, I've got a pool of young adults that have their transportation all set, they've been trained, they're ready to go. He responded, don't want them. When I asked him why, he says, every time I hire someone under 30, they get up to the top of the bridge, they want to take a selfie. He says, I pay them on Friday, they don't come in till Wednesday. That was his perception of our young workforce. The shortage of innovative solutions for infrastructure is happening because now we don't have that influence of that young energy, those ideas, that problem-solving component that this young workforce has. They feel like we don't listen, And truth be told, we're not listening. Does everyone agree? To some extent, right? Okay. My favorite Gen Z interview. Young man comes in, he's going to interview for summer paid internship. Comes in late. Comes in flip-flops, shorts, and a Pokemon shirt with holes in it. I can let all that go. He's young, he's learning. This is a teachable moment. Everyone, we love that term, teachable moment. I ask him for a copy of his resume. Takes out his phone. I'm 60. I don't see so well, so I'm squinting to see his resume. All of a sudden, the interview starts, and I start telling him about the position. And I, in my many years of working, have never had a young person do this to me. Interrupted me and said, "Excuse me, with all due respect." Stop right there. I'm a grown man. When I use that term, with all due respect, it's about to go down. Right? It is about to go down. Interrupt me using those words and said, now mind you, the internship was to job shadow engineers, to work and learn marketing and the business of road construction. Stopped and said, with all due respect, I'm looking for something remote.
Oh, wow.
After the initial shock, I go, well, you do understand this internship is working alongside industry experts that are going to show you career and this. He says, I'm more suited for remote. And just because he piqued my, he had me. I thought this young man was just fascinating. I go, okay, let me see your resume. And I'm squinting, I'm reading it. Experience, ready? Master gamer. Master gamer. I go, wow, that is a fascinating. And he goes on to tell me how in Fortnite, he typically is the last one standing, which makes him the king of Fortnite. Am I right? Okay. And yeah, so it's the way he explained it is there'll be 300 people in a room, and you kill each other, and the last one gets to dance, gets to do a dance, and wears a crown. Wow. Does not help us fix the traffic lights, build the bridges, or keep our roads safe. So, just because I was all in by now, and I'm going to see this through, just for laughs, and what would be a starting salary? This young man looked me dead in the eye and said, I can't do it for less than $70,000. Teachable moment. Teachable moment. Lesson number one.
I mean, he's a master gamer.
Master gamer. And he's probably doing very well with Fortnite money or whatever you can buy. But in the real world, we have to manage our expectations. So teachable moment. Taking the time to explain to him, and then I had to bring in the parent, just to explain we are willing to give him this opportunity, but we want you to know that his expectations might not meet the reality of what it is to have summer employment. Because CareerSource, FDOT, we have limited spots. We have to pick those that we can, and it's heartbreaking. But sometimes we just have to say, I can't have you burn a spot for us. This is, in some cases, changing lives. And earlier I shared the story of the young man that went to a CCB, attended, went back and said, can I work for that company this summer? We got him an internship. Lo and behold, every summer he'd go and work in the office, got to know the owner, the engineers, the survey guy, got to know everyone. When he finished his last high school summer, he said to the owner, hey, my mom is a part-time bagger at a grocery store. but I want to be a civil engineer because of what you guys have shown me. There he goes off to college, comes back a civil engineer. Where do you go to work? Went to work for that company. Who said Publix? No, not Publix. He went to work. He went to work for that company. So, does it make a difference? Yes. Is it impacting? Yes. But again, the key factor was a business owner, an adult that gets it, invested time and knowledge in the young person. Hey, Faye.
So this is a great teachable moment. So that's my son all day, and he gets paid really good to game. Like he used to play, he worked for EA Sports, but I was supportive of him, right? I was like, you can do this. So talk to the group, because you're really good at this. How to turn that dream into, how to help him turn it into reality versus saying, you know, this not what you need to do.
I got you.
Send him off with
I got
some
you.
resources.
We don't say, number one, we don't say don't do it.
Okay.
We don't say don't do it. And I'm gonna flip back. There was a young man in Detroit when I worked in Detroit that loved gaming. Did horrible at school, loved gaming, and he's on magazines now. It is a career for that young man. But the mom said, you need to be prepared. I know you don't want to go to school, but if you're going to do this, do it all the way. She supported him. If he wanted to take an entrepreneur course, he took it. If he wanted to learn how to take on something new in the industry, she supported it. And in that particular case, this young man, Jonathan, is internationally known. He's got his glove, his gamer glove. Understand this, there's some pain involved as a parent, because we come from, you gotta work, you gotta go to college. That was us. You gotta do this. Young people aren't there. Their mindset is, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, I want to be active in my environment, in my world. I want inclusion, I want diversity. So again, from a parental standpoint, support it. And something we heard today is sometimes you fail. That's okay. That's okay. Learn from it and move on. Gen Z was exposed to extreme world circumstances. Think about everything this young adult population went through. Pandemics, food shortages, everything is sky high price-wise, social distancing. So when you survive that at that age group, it imprints. So what we have now is young people that are suffering somehow or doing worse at the work site because they're being told, oh, you're not adapting to the workforce culture, okay? Here we go. They resent baby boomers lecturing about solutions that they created. That is a powerful statement, but think about it. If there's issues going on, the baby boomers are trying to teach, we are trying to teach the young people what the answers are, what the solutions are. They have the answers. We need to do better at hearing them. This is a national fact. Baby boomers are being replaced by Gen Z in high demand tech jobs. We heard it earlier today. There are some cases where entry-level positions are being fought for between adults and Gen Z young adults. If it is in the high-tech industry, just numbers don't lie. They are being hired because they're more adaptable. They're doing better than some of us that are set in our ways. Baby boomers in retaliation. Baby boomers are firing Gen Z, citing young workers as, not my words, as unprofessional, unorganized, they lack of work ethic, poor communicative skills, unable to navigate in workplace cultural settings. Workplace cultural settings, that's code for Christmas parties. Okay? This is a powerful statement on why Gen Z is disenfranchised. And I have to say, I don't agree with it, but we do have to hear from CEOs and business owners when they say why they're not hiring. Positive attitude and more initiative is one of the things that in our world, contractors say they wish young people had more of. They do at sometimes come in with unrealistic, they want the big salary, they want to get to that position of leadership, but in the old days it was called, you gotta get in, good work ethic, pay your dues, and then you get to that happy place. Young folks don't have time for that. They've been through too much, they're on a fast track to change the world. Contractor quote. Alex, I can teach them how to operate the machinery. What I can't do is teach them how to work. Do you remember in the old days, you would just walk in, be it a retail store, a market, a construction site, you would knock on the trailer door, hi, I'm looking for work. Few words are exchanged, come back tomorrow, and you would start working. Nowadays, you've got to do the electronic. I don't see the days of face-to-face interviews happen that quickly. There has to be that dance. Send me your resume, I'm gonna judge you on this piece of paper. If you're a young job candidate, you might not have a lot of work experience, so what are you gonna put down? I volunteered, I was part of this group, church affiliation, faith-based, anything. You're trying to fill so you don't have that blank sheet, okay? They're not giving the opportunity to do these internships, these apprenticeships, which look great on paper. If you're gonna judge me on these couple of paragraphs, let me accomplish something, so there has to be an avenue for those types of situations. Okay. Raise your hand, everyone here pretty much works with youth, that's why you're at a youth conference. I want to take a step back and hear from you, what do we have to do to get more young folks hired? Just know that Kevin is recording this, all this will be shared. We want to include this as part of the strategies that are shared, hopefully at a state level, on what we need to do as a community to get more folks working. I know half of you guys here, you're not shy. I know you. Please, now's the time for you to share your thoughts. What do we need to do? 27,000 young adults not connected to anything is painful to hear. It's painful to hear, and I travel nationally quite a bit. There are cities out west, east coast, I'll be in South Florida tomorrow, to see homeless younger and younger and younger. It's happening. And think about everything that's being thrown at them. Employment is not the answer to everything, but it is a start. Do we agree? Okay, what are some of the reasons to hire young people? What do they bring?
Well, two things that, I wouldn't say reasons to hire, but I would say two things that we need to change as a policy is what we spoke about earlier, the background screening. A lot of our young people have charges and they're still facing that barrier. And the other thing is the whole drug screening policy that it's really hard for our kids to be able to obtain employment if they're out there smoking the weed, and it's almost like a natural thing nowadays. Like that, we need to change that.
I was so glad he said it.
Smoking the weed.
Smoking the weed. The devil's lettuce. The devil's lettuce.
It's really positive.
Is cannabis now?
Hmm?
Is cannabis now for the marketing?
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the background. I can't speak for all the industries. I will speak for road and bridge construction. Very forgiving. Not as hung up on the background. I work with renting population. I have placed everything from first offender to men that have done multiple murders. I've gotten them working. Okay. Road construction doesn't care what you did in the past. It is case by case. I got to do the disclaimer. But one thing is common with the contractors. I don't care what you did yesterday. Are you going to show up today, and will you be at work tomorrow? We need more companies that will look past, will accept, will work with. And again, I've heard both sides. I've heard companies say, man, liability, I don't want to put my business at risk. I have the one guy, God bless him, he hired folks that had committed murder, would not hire anyone that had theft. And when I asked him, I go, wow, you're pretty unique in your hiring methods. He says, yeah, I don't want to lose any tools. I don't want anyone to steal from me. Again, second, I've had young adults, their lawyer call me and argue the fact that they have the right to legalize marijuana and any other drug. And I responded, yes, your client, that young man, has the right to smoke marijuana, but federal law says you cannot work in traffic, high, operating heavy equipment at this present time. And because I was talking to a lawyer, I said, if there's anything further, let me go ahead and connect you to Tallahassee. There's a legal department that can explain it better, much better than I can. So, the weed is a big, big deal. I work with some companies that do mandatory. I work with some companies that do it one time. I work with some companies that do it routinely. I'll tell you what I've told the young person. I said, okay, thank you for showing me that card. I want you to think about this. Here is a $45 bag of weed. Here is a $19 an hour job. Choose. And I will say this, some contractors have said this, communication from a community standpoint, I have had to have the conversation with HR directors. I'm sorry, they're going to drop dirty, let's not test them. Will you give me 3 to 4 weeks? And then can we revisit this? This young person is committed to work and they really like your company. Can you, and again, I love that term, teachable moment. Come on, can we have a success story? Let's give this young person a break.
But also Alex and I work together, so he was on the more hands-on construction side and I'm on the C+ side. So there are unknown employers that will take those case-by-case backgrounds. You're sitting in one of the facilities right now that they will hire. They do not do a background, the weed
Drug screen.
I'm going to use that forever. So you have to, my thing is, and I think that's why Alex and I work so well, we built a relationship. So we had those conversations before sending the individual over there. So if I just sent a guy to Mosaic, everybody know Mosaic, 14 days out of the month, he has murder charge. He starts orientation Monday. Okay, but the thing of it is, hey, listen, they'll put you back on 41. That means you get fired if you don't have a clean urine, and the background wasn't an issue because you're dealing with phosphate and sulfate and XYZ. Attendance is their biggest thing, but I built that relationship first before sending that young person, because he's 24 and he's about to be making $35 an hour. Okay, so it's one of those, thank you, it's one of those things, you build those relationships first. I like what you said, Alice, that you know it may be a potential problem. Had a conversation with the employer, give that individual time to get it cleaned up, but I can't want it more than you want it. You got to clean up, you got to stay clean. So it is about building a relationship. There's a lot of employers out there that get the tax credit. They're out there, they don't tell you, so you got to be nosy like me and get involved and get invested and be intentional about placement, because honestly, everybody with a charge don't want to work asphalt. Me and Alex talk about this all the time. They don't want to dig, they don't want to do, but you need to do something or you're going to reoffend because you're not doing something. So be creatively build that career plan with them to see where they can fall in it, and then, you know, go from there. Construction is not always on the road. You can order supplies. You could be in shipping and receiving. You can get your forklift. There's 1,000 other things.
5-year thing. That's exactly what was 5-year thing. We've got to guide them to their thing.
Exactly.
We can't say this is going to be your thing.
Right.
They've got to find it themselves, and there's trial and error involved. Also, that modeling aspect. I'm full of stories today. Group of young offenders working in partnership with a community-based organization down in Miami. We had a contractor open their doors, had them tour the facility. They went to an active work site. They got to play heavy equipment, And afterward, the owner came out and said, I'll hire them all. It was 10 individuals. He says, I'll hire them all. He walks away, and I'm talking to the superintendent that runs that particular project, and I said, what an amazing day. Look at the impact. I can't believe your owner just did that. And this gentleman said, why wouldn't he? I did 6 years myself, and look at me. I'm running this. So again, thank you. And I'm pretty sure I know your agency. Go ahead and tell them who you work with.
LaFay?
No, everyone,
CSTB.
LaFay CDC.
I didn't know, I know you're
Yeah.
talking.
And my kids.
AMI kids, yeah, AMI kids. So what do we have to do? We've got more acceptance, a little bit of leniency, and working with the individual, not with the background. There has to be that heart-to-heart conversation about there's certain standards to work. You know, you're expected, you gotta show up, even if it's remote. You know, for those of us that work remote, you know, we're doing what we have to do, but there's consistency and work is being provided. Yes?
Yeah, I don't work with youth, I work with adults, but sometimes you get, 20.
Sometimes you get 30-year-old
20,
teenagers.
30, yeah, with the mom sometimes. You know what I mean? But I like to explain everybody, especially the ones that they want to go like crazy for CDL, okay? Because this is something that sometimes people, they don't understand. When you have a CDL driver, and it takes, they send you for a drug test, you don't show up, you lost your job, and that goes in your record nationwide. Okay? So I say that way people understand. When you're getting it, oh no, nobody told me that I would be tested. And for them, they don't make any sense why they're going to test me when you're driving an 18-wheeler.
For the sake of time, anytime work related in most of the construction industries, if there's an accident, what's the first thing that happens? You're getting drug tested right off the bat. A couple more, and then we got to get going.
Sorry, I was just going to make a quick statement that we have to ask people, are they looking for something outcome-based or output-based? So then it's easy for them to decide what kind of job are they looking for. So if they want something outcome-based where it's like, oh, there is this major goal for that role, and that's what's going to inspire them to be a good employee, that's where they need to start. If they just want to go in from 9 to 5 and they want to leave, and they want to do something that they just tap out, it's just a different type of job. And the employers have to be much more open about what the point is for each role, and they need to let the employees own kind of what that ownership looks like. Right now, there's no value. I mean, the separation between the employer. I'm running a business myself. It's like, well, I need somebody who is bought into what I'm trying to develop and what I'm trying to, get out. If that employee is a customer, would they not be upset if something didn't get done? So it's really teaching empathy. So then, actually, if they thought it was their business, they're going to lose that
Which
customer.
certain generations are known for. They're not known for empathy. They're get it done, get in there, learn the hard way. How many of us have resumes? I put in 5 years, I put in 10 years, I retired from that one company. I don't see that with the young adults anymore. I see 6 months here, 3 months here, and I'm seeing everything from entry-level retail to lumberjack to just a variety of different things while they figure it out. In my day, that would drive a parent bonkers because we were raised so different. I got a kick out of one of the sessions where she shared that young people now, if they don't like what's being served by the parents, they're just going to order DoorDash. And I was sitting there going, in my day, DoorDash was, you would get dog poop, put it on someone's, light it on fire, ring the bell, and you would dash. That was our DoorDash. Again, we have to start thinking different in terms of attracting them, because we're not losing them to disenfranchise. We're losing them to a part of the community that we can't get back if we don't embrace them and get them to understand we need you. Okay, reasons to hire youth. They're better at technology, social media, and marketing. My parent company is Quest Marketing. they have on average, everyone that is on the marketing end of it is in their 20s, just out of college, that young energy, and they're so much better at it. We were struggling with social media. They put in a Gen Zer. Guess what? The numbers are through the roof. They're better at it. This young lady even had a workshop and taught me how to properly do a selfie. You know, that there's your arm has to be at an angle, the setting. I didn't know this stuff.
I need to take that credit because you remember.
Yeah, I got a picture of your thumb, Robert.
So I need to take that
He
credit.
took a picture. I got a great picture of your thumb. They work well on independent projects. You hear team building, team building, team building. Again, they've been doing it on their own. They are so tuned in to technology. They're better on individual projects. Doesn't mean that they can't be a team player, but that is something that not everyone that's a team player does well individually. They already come pre-packaged to succeed on individual projects. They know how to adapt. My God, they've been through everything. COVID, pandemics, social distancing, worldwide, you name it, they've been through it. They just take it in stride and they adapt. Their insight balances out a work team. We need their voice because 9 times out of 10, their input is going to be part of the overall solution. If they're not sitting at the table, we're at a loss. They surpass workplace goals when mentored. Show me how to do it, teach me how to do it, and then I will be better at it. Just give me that opportunity. We are not mentoring in everything that we do, be it workplace, be it just society as a whole. We have to pass on those tricks of the trades that we have to pass it on to our young folks. The national trend of young leaders in the workforce is the way to go. You're seeing business owners, entrepreneurs, you're seeing a wave of young leaders in the workplace more than ever before. The younger folks are getting there. We've got to make sure that we are building off of their talents. They are our future. Okay. Infrastructure. How do we get our young folks connected to these types of work? Promote and market the trades to younger audiences. Traditionally, we start career fairs, high school. Now the big push is let's go younger, let's do middle school. I say we need to go even younger and start talking about high demand careers and the trades. Let them know what a plumber does. Let them know what IT involves. Let them know everything that they can achieve career-wise. And it's funny, I grew up in the time where they would bring in the Officer Friendly. Who remembers Officer Friendly? They would bring in the officer. Sometimes he'd bring the police dog that was trained to smell the weed. But that started in elementary school. Why don't we do that for the trades? Why aren't we showing them that? And I'm gonna say something. I was on a national call, not a state call, and they asked me just my perception. What do we need to do? I said we need to mimic how the young people communicate and how they market. I said, FDOT, we need a social influencer. We need to get with the times. We need an influencer, and they need to start doing what influencers do because we are missing out on how they communicate. We need to build large-scale employment and post-secondary pathways to sustainable careers. There's a couple phenomenal ones, and we've got the CDCs, we've got the AMI kids, and a host of other that are trying to funnel our young people into these positions. We need more employers to open their doors. We need more CEOs to say to everyone from HR down to the linemen, we are going to bring in these young people. They're going to job shadow. We're going to set up a standard of systems that they stay with us and come into this industry. And even if they don't stay in your industry, they're prepared for the next industry. Okay? We do that, paid internships. I placed 582 youth and young adults 16 to 24 paid internships. Fact, those that were 16 and 17 overwhelmingly chose to come back the following year during the summer. Those that were 18 to 24 stayed on with the company to the tune of 92% of that young adult population stayed on with the company after a paid internship for 2 months. Who can tell me why? Someone that hasn't said anything. And I know you're not shy. Why did the young people stay after 2 months of a paid internship? Why did they stay on with the companies? I'm looking at it. You can't avoid eye contact. I'm looking at you.
They built a relationship, I guess. And they were paid too. That's good, right?
The paid, okay.
They had real job review, so they know what they're stepping into.
They knew what they were getting into. Now, 2 points. Paid internship, you know, in the old days, even now, folks do internships. It happens. Paid internships, because if we want to take something away from them, such as their time and their values, we need to put something into place. I'm going to give you a career path. I'm going to have you job shadow industry experts, and I'm going to pay you. It makes it even better. Apprenticeship, and who remembers split school days? Remember? It was the rage. Then it stopped. Now it's back. Now you've got tech centers, you've got trade schools at the high school level. Half the day you're in the classroom. The other half of the day you're learning how to build, how to create, how to manufacturing. That is a game changer, because the truth is not everyone wants to go to 4 years of college anymore. Some young people, believe it or not, want to just into the workforce, start making money, and master a certain craft. And guess what? Keep tracking the numbers. It's going to be a toss-up of how much infrastructure folks are making compared to those degrees. Okay? And at some point, there's going to be a balance, because employers want to know what can you do, not what you studied for 4 years in some cases, because I don't want to upset any of my education folks. Okay? Business needs to adapt to the new generation. We beat it to death. We've got to just open the doors and have them come in. And that includes hiring. 27,000 unemployed youth, but if you look at how many businesses are struggling and crying, I need this, I need that, I can't find anybody, we've got to bridge that gap, okay? Final thoughts, questions, comments before we go? Now you want to talk.
Yeah. I think an important part, especially when it comes to employment for young people, you know, I'm younger, I'm 26. I think changing the outlook on what employment looks like for a young person. So oftentimes we think in terms of like, you have your job to make your money, and then you have your hobby, your actual passions. But employment can be an avenue to self-actualization and self-discovery. And I think I grew up, I don't know about other people personally, where my mom's like, I hate my job. Like, I don't want to go, I never want to go to the job again. And that affected the way I looked at employment. But now, you know, as a young person, and I've told a lot of other young people, you could look at it in a way that's like, hey, I'm doing my passion, and I'm here to find what I really, really love to do. And sort of that connection really helps people continue to stay involved and continue to really look and be active towards their employment goals.
And it goes to that, they want to be happy, healthier, they want that. It's our role to guide them to get to that place. One of my favorite placements of all time was a young man, couldn't even put it into words. He says, I just like engines. I go, what do you mean? He says, I just like that sound. And he did the sound. Like, I go, I know that sound. I got him working on heavy equipment. Dream job. We got to make that match at a community, nonprofit based. How do we bring in the right contractors or the right employers? Before we do that, we've got to hear from the young people, what are you interested in, and can I show you something new? Because a lot of times they don't know until we show them, okay? Last slide. That's my inner engineer. That's my infrastructure, that's inner Alex. I want to thank you guys for your time. Please give yourselves a big hand. all my information's up here if you have any questions or if you need anything. So thank you, everybody. Rob, Rob. Bueno, ¿qué cosa es?